David C. Jones, and David is an acting coach and a body language expert. And we're talking with David today because we're following up with the federal leaders debate and getting people to talk about these guys. And, well, body language, David, it's so important, right?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things that's a little bit tricky with political leaders. It is so important because I think way back in the 60s when Richard Nixon was called out because of sweating on camera, and it was the first time suddenly your presentation was important. Anyone who has to do public speaking often gets coaches and stuff to help them do that. Sometimes they'll give a person a move that they'll say, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. That doesn't work because it doesn't fit the personality of the person, so it comes across as phony. The famous one is when Al Gore stepped out from behind his podium towards George W. Bush, and I guess to look aggressive or to presidential.
That just was spooky.
Yeah, it was just like, what's he doing?
Is he going to shoot him?
I know, and of course George W. Bush was just able to respond with, he dismissed it immediately, right? So, that's really important to know, and when in a public setting, a person will be more guarded with their body language. But what's really cool is that there's little movements, I call them the status dance moves. There's little flinches and flicks that are almost impossible to hide, even when coached. That's another reason why almost all politicians are very, very still when they talk, because they're trying not to give anything away. They were told to keep their hands above and up in camera because the camera is going to be cutting them off here. So they kept their hands up and and showing openness. Anything like this or like that is too aggressive, whereas this shows, please trust me, look, I have something to give you. Most people really notice the status dance moves or stuff like that when they're constantly adjusting. And they're doing it on a subconscious level when they're flirting with someone in a bar. In a situation like that. I know, me too. But if you think about it, when the person goes hi, and you go, oh hi, right, and then and suddenly you're doing all these little tiny movements, and
your back,
or tipping the head, touching the hair, right, and these are all like touching the face is a low status move, right? Tipping the head signals cooperation. Right, the head getting very, very still. Person's taking a step back means they're getting defensive. So, so if the guy was going, "Hey, what's your name?" and you went and struck back, he would probably step back immediately because he's going.
You hope he would.
Well, yeah. Sometimes people are obtuse about that sort of stuff. You can tell when someone's agitated.
Right.
Why they're agitated, you don't know. Right. If I'm sitting with you and we're talking and my foot's going, right? Okay, I'm agitated. I might have to go to the bathroom. I might be planning to kill you. I might be deeply in love with you, right?
Quite the spectrum.
We're animals, so we will flinch and flick and do little movements. There. Do you see how the smile went up just as he said that? The interesting thing about status signals is when do they do it and when do they not do it? You go, well, that's just a thing he did. It's like, yes, but he didn't do it anywhere else.
He just did it when he said he wanted the majority.
Well, he said, if we do not win this election, and then he smiled. Because that's confidence that he is.
Yeah.
He says not good for this country. His eyes drop, and he turns his head. So again, he's showing, he feels very proud that he got this talking point out. If he was not sure, his eyes would be wide and taking in all the information around him. But at this time, he once again is very dismissive by going, whatever. When people are getting high status moves done to them, so they get on the defensive, they do very animalistic moves. They'll protect the neck, they'll protect the stomach, they'll protect the genitals, and it's just little hand gestures that move in front of them, right? Harper's like listening and going, whatever, whatever, and then he goes, oh crap, here comes that stuff. And the minute he does it, he tries to do it in a, this is nonchalant, but he protects his body. He's also the only one who stands mostly really tight to the podium. It's one thing to stand like this, but it's another thing to stand like this.
So what's he saying by standing like that?
Again, he's protecting himself.